Happy Christmas, everyone. It's Christmas Day and I'm coming to you with a little Christmas bonanza. It may look like a scene out of a tin cup, but no, we're talking takeaway today. I've got the old broom out. I know you all love a bit of broom action. I've got the leaderboard and I've got the TheraBand. And of course, I've got the golf club that's going to give you some insight into how we get this golf swing started. We haven't talked about it for a little while and I thought it would be a great opportunity to, seeing as the new year is coming at us, let's get our backswing started in the right way too. So first of all, let me cast aside some implements and let's get started. With the aid of the leaderboard, which is a great device designed by Steve Bann down in Australia, sadly no longer in existence, but it does give me an opportunity to really display what's going on dynamically through my legs and my feet while I'm hitting a golf shot. So the left-hand skate here is able to slide and move around, and it really gives us a chance to see what's going to happen the minute I start to move the golf club away. Now, of course, we don't really see anything going on with your foot action unless you are standing on some sort of pressure mat. I've done a great video, one of my early videos down in the gym with the body track mat and showing how much energy is going down through my feet when I get this golf club started. So I'm going to stand on the board, and what I've got is the skate can only move about an inch. Then I'm going to place the club. And so as I start to take this golf club away, we talk so often about ground force, and I've done various videos on it, but in the takeaway, how we start to get the lower half moving and fired up. And of course, you'll have seen people tapping their feet around and all this nonsense. But the reality is you don't need to start to tap and lift the feet off the floor. All you need to start to do is to exert directional force through your feet that'll start to get your lower half working. And really, this foot pressure early on is to really take some of the energy and take some of the slack away from just taking the golf club away. Because of course it's so easy just to get the club moving fast because it's in your hands and because, excuse me, you're trying to hit a golf ball. So the first thing I'm going to think about when I start to take this golf club away is really the energy that's coming from my right foot to start to move that skate, that left-hand skate out. And so the sensation here that I have in my feet, you can see that really not much is going on and not much is changing when it comes to my hip action. But the energy that's going on in my feet is significant. It's actually firing up that right foot. And so if I was to then stand on the ground, and this is the beauty with the leaderboard if you do manage to find yourself one, now all of a sudden the electricity that's been going on in my feet and my glutes standing on that leaderboard, now all of a sudden I can feel exactly the same sensation when I'm taking the golf club away. So the push of that right foot is going to start to feel like I can get that right hip moving. And really, we're only talking today this very initial part of the golf swing. And many golfers have had problems with it, haven't they, over the years? You know, you've got Justin Rose, he had some issues. Robert Carlson, if you're from a certain generation, and even the likes of Sergio Garcia with all of that re-gripping. So getting this golf club moving away can be a tricky thing. So once we've now started to assess how the feet are working, that's going to take care of everything from belt line downwards. And of course, from belt line upwards, now is about the leverage in the grip. And of course, if you've watched enough of my content, you will know that I've done an excessive amount of content on the grip, and that playlist up in the top right-hand corner there is certainly something that I'd really inspire you to go and watch this Christmas Day. We now need to get the club head moving away. Now, we've got, as I've spoken about so many times, we've got the heavy end and we've got the light end. And we're trying to trade these two weights off each other. Of course, all of the time I hold the club in the light end, that heavy end is trying to swing underneath the light end. So that when I put the club head on the floor, because the floor is propping up the club head, as I lift the handle up, you can see how this club head wants to swing in and under the handle. Oh, excuse me. So when I move the golf club away, the minute that club comes away, and the beauty with using this board here, you really see the inspiration of that club head trying to take itself underneath the handle. And so therefore I need to have some force through the grip, the pad of the hand, which again why I talk so extensively on the pressure of the handle, that's going to really allow me to feel like the pressure on the butt end of the golf club is going to start to lever that club away. So let me just go and get the TheraBand. You can see where this is going. I'm going to be standing on this mat in a moment with a lot of implements. So stay with me, because I could fall over and could make you all laugh. So I've now got the TheraBand around my neck, and this TheraBand offers up a situation where it can start to create some force away from my chest. And that force away from my chest is going to come in the way of my pads of my hand. The pads of my hand are going to create that force. So I can start to feel how pushing down with that TheraBand. So I've now got myself in a nice posture. I'm going to push the TheraBand off my posture. Now all of a sudden my shoulders have got some load in them, and I've got some load running through my back because of course this TheraBand is trying to pull my back into flexion. So I've now got some back extension to hold the shape of my spine, and I've now got some load through my shoulders. This right arm is being pulled upwards in the same way the club head is trying to pull the handle upwards. So I can push down and straighten my arms, and I can also push down with my left hand and allow the sensation that the TheraBand is actually going to allow my right wrist to go into extension as well. So I can push down with my arm and flex the wrist back at me, which is exactly the same feeling that I'm going to start to feel as I move the golf club away. So I put a little bit of flexion in the TheraBand. I get myself set up, so I've got my arms bent. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push the leaderboard, and I'm going to push on the band. And so all of a sudden what starts to happen is my right leg starts to go a little bit longer. The energy goes towards my lead leg. My handle pushes down. Because my right hip then starts to fire and move around, the handle swings inside, and because of the energy that I'm running through my TheraBand, you can now see the handle's moved inside, but the club head stayed outside. So that network, that network of pushing down with both hands and allowing that right wrist to go into extension, and how that's trading off the energy that's going down through my feet. Let's cast the club aside. And now we've got the broom out. Now I'm going to put the TheraBand around my neck. Let's just move this back here. So I've now got TheraBand. Now I've got the broom with a grip on it. Big thanks to Nunu for doing that. Now the weight of the broom and the TheraBand really makes sense. Now as I start to move the golf club back, the broom back, and I push down, can you see how the face angle that is the length of the broom, obviously pointing at the target here, as I start to move it around me, can you see how the club face is no longer pointing at the ball line, it's pointing out in front of the ball line. But really what's super interesting here, and I see it so often on the lesson tee, that left wrist, as people work the golf club back, everyone's trying to bow the wrist. Now if your grip's correct and you were to bow the wrist, is that really where you would want your club face pointing? down at the ground. If I have a super bad grip, weak in my left hand, and now I bow my left wrist, can you see how the grip doesn't make the face point down to the ground? So if you've got a grip that's correct, where you've got some pressure in the pad that will allow you to keep the broom up in front of you, as you go back and I apply the force in the grip, can you see how I can keep that crease in that left wrist? The face angle has not found itself open, it's still got some angle in it down towards the ball line, but without compromising this shape of wrist and trying to get flexion in that lead arm. The foot pressure is working, pressure on the band, the right hip is working because of the foot pressure, the leverage in the grip by virtue of understanding the TheraBand, length of the arms that are pushing off of the spine and moving the golf club away. So let's take that away. Let's get a golf club out. So the beauty of the leaderboard is it allows us to hit shots with it. So I want to hit some shots on the leaderboard so that you can really see the activity going on with my feet as I'm taking the golf club away. So there's the pressure on the handle. There's the right foot engaging. Now you can see how my chest is able to move around the golf ball. And you can see how that motion that's going through takeaway really starts to fire up my hip action, really starts to fire up how I want to lever the golf club away. So you can see there's no corruption there, it's just all movement that's allowing me to really feel how that pressure can work through my feet to enable the mobility of my lower half, because ultimately once you free up your lower half, you really free up the opportunity to move yourself with your top half around the golf ball, which is obviously key because that allows you to make back swings that are long enough and allows you to really start to feel how that leg can then start to fire backwards and create some good movement. So we hit one more on here. That's more like it. So you can see the sensation that I start to have and move around through my feet is really inspirational about how it makes my top half work. So let's cast the leaderboard away, pop that back, and let's now apply. And gosh, if you've ever been on a leaderboard and then you take it away and then you hit shots, feels like your legs are on a ship. So there's the pressure I'm applying through my right foot. Oh, that feels good. Which then all of a sudden allows my leg action to keep doing the same thing, allows me to feel TheraBand force pushing off of my posture. Right leg is applying the force into my left leg, and all of a sudden it really doesn't cause any restriction in my body to not allow me to hit a pretty good shot. So that network of pressures running through the feet, running through the grip, running through the shoulders, mobilizing the chest, mobilizing the hips, is going on to take the club away. And hopefully that illustrated nicely what I would feel in the very early phases of a takeaway. I've done enough videos on the takeaway. Check out that one up in the top right hand corner as well, because that's a beauty. But I really want to take this opportunity to wish you a super happy Christmas. Hopefully by now you've enjoyed a lovely dinner, having a little snooze on the sofa this afternoon, chocolates in hand, glass of wine. Have one for me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Big, big love from me. And I think you'll find that, my friends, good coaching. If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed.